Hi everyone, Shai here. I hope all of you are doing good. Welcome to another new video. We like to think that every flight we catch will go smoothly. As we board, we will eat our little snacks and disembark at our destination without incident. But that doesn't always happen, and some people have some incredible near-death experiences to share. From emergency landing due to cabin smoke to landing gear failure, here are some of the greatest emergency landings ever caught on camera. Number 1. Emergency landing due to cabin smoke. Ethan Williams from the UK captured the moment he thought he was gonna die. It was an unusual experience, that's for sure. He was on a plane from Hong Kong to Los Angeles when the cabin crew alerted the passengers that they would need to make an emergency landing. Ethan said in a video that he wasn't sure what was happening, but that the flight attendants were running around and all aboard signs were going off. He then said they had just received an announcement that they would be performing an emergency landing. Crew members told everyone to take off their coats and shoes and to don their life vests. They also instructed them on what they needed to do when they heard the word brace. At the time, the Boeing 777-300ER was carrying 18 crew and 276 passengers and was getting ready to land at Erickson Air Station in Alaska. The plane was able to make a successful landing despite all the chaos, and passengers finally learned what happened after preliminary inspection. It was revealed that an equipment cooling fan near the cargo compartment beneath the cabin floor had failed and smoke was detected around the cockpit area. The emergency landing was made as a precaution. Number 2. Plane runs out of gas. Running out of fuel when you're driving down a busy road is stressful enough, but imagine flying a plane and realizing you don't have enough fuel to make it back to the airport. That would be an absolutely horrible feeling. In 2020, a small plane pilot clearly misjudged how much fuel they would need and had to make an emergency landing in Knoxville, Tennessee, on the I-640 East Highway near Washington Pike. So much could have gone wrong in that situation, but the pilot was able to land the plane safely and without hitting any cars or other obstacles. While 2 lanes of eastbound traffic were able to remain open, the rest of the lanes had to stay closed. The pilot, who was probably quite embarrassed at this point, had to wait until his friend arrived with plane fuel so that he could take off again. You wouldn't be in a hurry to forget landing and taking off in the middle of a highway. Number 3. Emergency landing due to engine performance issues. The technological age has been a great thing for accident investigators. If any horrific accident happens, they can typically find at least one person who has captured the entire event on camera so they can establish the facts of the incident. While it's not known what this plane was or where it was going, someone uploaded footage to YouTube showing themselves on the camera and the voices of the flight crew in the background informing them that they would be performing an emergency landing. The voiceover said that the captain had informed them that they would be performing an emergency landing in around 9 minutes, and they were fully prepared and trained for such a situation. Passengers were instructed to return to their seats and fasten their seat belts. According to the person taking the footage, he saw the engine blow up outside his window. He said it was scary, but the captain was calm, so he'd be calm. The plane landed without incident. Everyone clapped, and the passengers were shuttled back to the airport on a bus. Before moving on to the next point, I'd like to take a moment to introduce you all to my merchandise. You can support my content by getting your favorite products from my store or by simply joining my channel. Your support means a lot to me. Now, let's get back to the video. Number 4. Landing gear failure. In 2015, a SkyWest Airlines jet had to land at the Los Angeles International Airport without some of its landing gear. The plane had 43 people on board and had reported that it had some problems prior to approaching the airport. These problems included not being able to extend its left main landing gear before reaching the runway. After it came to a stop on the runway without its landing gear, it was immediately surrounded by emergency personnel to ensure everyone was safe. Passengers were able to exit the plane safely and were put onto buses before being transported to the airport. The captain was happy to report there had been no injuries, and the runway opened later that afternoon after being closed for most of the day. According to officials, airline mechanics would be inspecting the aircraft to find out what had caused the issues. Number 5. Emergency landing from a stuck clutch. A pilot was lucky to be alive after he experienced a stuck landing clutch that resulted in him having to perform an emergency landing without wheels at Aldinga Airfield south of Adelaide in late 2022. The pilot was flying a Beechey 55 Baron and had been spotted circling the airfield for about 2 hours to get rid of excess fuel before attempting to land. He had already reported his predicament, and at least 3 fire trucks and the police had arrived at the airfield to assist in any way they could. The pilot brought the plane down carefully and landed on the airfield without wheels before smoothly sliding across the gravel. According to a nearby resident, Daphne Pengoli, she heard there had been a plane in trouble and decided to come down to the airstrip. She had seen the plane flying around for quite a while with one nose wheel and one wing wheel down. She said that when the fire units arrived, he performed a few flybys before retracting the landing wheels, doing a few more flybys, and completing his landing. They were highly anxious for the pilot, the air filled with the sound of grating as the propellers and the plane's base scraped across the tarmac. But once the Beech Baron came to a stop, the pilot jumped out of the plane and said he was fine with not a scratch. He declined an interview. Number 6. Helicopter makes emergency landing in heavy traffic. A U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter had been rehearsing for a military ceremony in 2021 when it was forced to make an emergency landing in the streets of Bucharest, Romania. According to witnesses, the helicopter had been flying in formation when it started losing altitude and landed in Charles de Gaulle Square before knocking out 2 light posts. No one was hurt in the incident, and the U.S. Army Europe and Africa Public Affairs team said the crew conducted a precautionary landing. They also noted that due to the expertise of the crew and the Romanian police officers on the ground, the helicopter was able to land safely. Although after the incident, there would be a joint Romanian and American investigation into what had happened. I mean, it's not every day that a helicopter lands on the road, so something must have happened. After the incident, many photos and video footage were released online showing the Black Hawk flying above the busy boulevard before rapidly descending as it drops. The rotors hit 2 streetlights and one of them lands on a car. There are also pictures of crew members standing around outside the helicopter on mobile devices with the helicopter's engine department opened. If you aren't nervous about air travel before, there's a pretty good chance you will be now. Plane issues are rare, but they do happen. Have you ever been on board a plane during an emergency? What happened? We'd love to read your story in the comments. So, that was all for today. I hope you have watched the video up to this timestamp. Make sure to press the like button if it amazed you. Press the subscribe button if you still haven't subscribed to the channel, as it's totally free. You can follow me on all social media platforms. All links are given in the description. You can also watch other cool stuff. The playlist link is also mentioned in the description. I will catch you up soon in the next video. Till then, peace out.